Hey, you plentiful pistachios, welcome back to J-Mac. Here's the stories for today for you all. As always, if you do enjoy today's content, please like and subscribe. And without that further said, let's get into it.
This first story, am I the a-hole for kicking my boyfriend out? I'm a 27-year-old female and I moved in with my boyfriend, who's 25, a few years ago because I don't get along well with my parents. Both of our names are on the lease, just so you guys know. I have two younger siblings, one who is irrelevant to the story, and Sarah, who's a 19-year-old female. Sarah recently asked me if she could move in with my boyfriend and I because our parents were being unreasonable. I talked with my boyfriend, he agreed, and she moved in about 2 weeks ago. Things have been fine, although I have noticed that my boyfriend has started to avoid my sister at all costs. My sister said that this makes her feel bad, so I sat my boyfriend down and told him to stop because it was upsetting my sister, but I noticed he hasn't stopped. Today, I arrived home and my boyfriend and sister were arguing. I got between them and demanded to know what was wrong. My boyfriend started talking about how my sister had made unwanted advances towards him and was peeping in on him while he was changing. My sister was close to tears and denied the allegations. I could tell that my sister was upset, and she is not a liar. So I told my boyfriend that until I made up my mind on who to trust, that he was going to have to stay at a friend's house while I sorted out my feelings. He got angry and said that it was his apartment first, so I had no right to kick him out. I threatened to leave with my sister if he didn't, and that seemed to knock that sense into him. He packed a bag and left. Probably to a friend's house, while I sat down with my sister, but she still denied everything. I called my boyfriend to tell him that I needed for him to stay away for a few days while I got everything sorted out, and he just went off, yelling about how I had no right and that my sister was in the wrong until I just hung up because I didn't want to fight. But the longer we go without talking, the more I feel bad for kicking him out. Am I the a-hole? I'd like to point out how incredibly fortunate you are that you have a boyfriend who wouldn't dare legally contest the fact you kicked him out of his own leased home. Seriously, you're having another person stay at the house who likely isn't on the lease. That is definitely a breach of the lease. You are the a-hole. Instead of trying to talk to him about why he's avoiding her, you just told him to stop avoiding her. It's obvious that there was a problem, and you just didn't want to deal with it and hoped it would go away. Then, it blew up and you kicked him out. You say you believe your sister because she isn't a liar. Is your boyfriend a liar? Do you have reason to not believe him? Well, he was avoiding her for some reason. You just didn't bother to find out why. No, everyone sucks here. Something's up between your sister and your boyfriend. He shouldn't have freaked out, but you sort of threw him out of his own house before you all got to talk things out. I get it is both of your guys' place, but you didn't even let things settle down before deciding to kick him out. No, you are! You most definitely are! You basically victim-shamed your boyfriend because your sister doesn't lie, and you told him to leave his own apartment by giving him an ultimatum. If I was your boyfriend, I would have taken it and told you and your sister to get out. What an absolute a-hole you are. Personally, I'm not putting too much blame on the OP here. The boyfriend is clearly just letting her walk all over him. Like, mate, you have so much more power here. Grow a spine. She's only getting away with this kind of authority because you're letting her. Why would your sister admit to creeping on your boyfriend? Why would your boyfriend make that up? And what were they arguing about when you got home? It makes sense that your boyfriend would avoid her if she was creeping on him, and that he wouldn't want to ruin the relationship you have with your sister by telling you. Sorry, but from the info you've given, it sounds like Yata and your boyfriend is probably telling the truth. Nah, this was clearly a setup from the beginning. Clearly, she planted her sister in the house to pressure the boyfriend into leaving himself. Clearly, he wasn't doing it on his own, so she's pushed him out himself. Obviously, that's BS, but I like to think so. It makes it more fun and exciting. Personally, I think the guy should run for the hills, but what do you think? You think there's a chance this relationship could last after this terrible attempt to try and fix things between the siblings? For now, though, let's move on to the next story. Am I the a-hole for calling my mother a racist feminine puppy and disregarding the punishments she gave me? My 17-year-old female mother, who's 35-year-old female, has always been racist, and she doesn't hide it either. She makes comments about African Americans being ugly, but the race she has the most prejudice towards is anyone who is Chinese, Japanese, Korean, etc. She generalizes the way they speak and mocks them. She says they're all ugly, makes comments about how they shouldn't drive because they can't see properly, etc. I've heard this all throughout my life from her, and every time I've wanted to call her out, but I was afraid of what she'd say because, well, all my life she's been a ticking time bomb, and most of the time I'm too exhausted to deal with her constantly going on a rampage of saying cruel things and then playing the victim after it all. This time, in particular, however, I was watching A Silent Voice. Beautiful anime movie, by the way. It brought me to tears. Now, one of the scenes showing how Shoko speaks aloud was on while my mum was in the room, and of course, as per routine, she made a stupid comment basically stating that she surprised anyone batted an eye at how she talks, given that it's supposedly as unintelligible as any other Asian. Wait, what? But even going off on, like, racial prejudice and stereotypes, that Asians are smarter than everyone. That's the thing we always say. Where is she coming from with this? I spoke up and said, "Oh, smack! I forgot I can't watch what I enjoy without you trying too hard to make us laugh with an unfunny racist comment." She said, "Excuse me?" To which I replied that I was pretty sure she heard me, and then she asked me what it was like to have a fetish for Asian people. So I said, "What's it like to have such a bland personality that being a racist feminine pup is your main trait?" Oh, yes. Yes! She respected my opinion, but then told me I had no right to speak to her that way because she was my mother. Basically, I shrugged, then I said that I'm treating her as I would any prejudiced person. I was grounded for being disrespectful because apparently being racist is nothing but an opinion. Yes, it is an opinion. It is very valid to say that. But mummy dearest, you only tolerate a racist opinion if it's ignorantly racist, not arrogantly racist. So, what's that dung beetle rolling over there? It's your value in society. Pretty much the same hour I walked out of the house and announced that I was sleeping over at a friend's house because there's no way I was going to serve a punishment for calling out a racist. I'm getting mixed reactions. Some say I was fully in the right and didn't need to change a thing. Others say, while I was in the right, I should have just taken the punishment because I knew what the outcome would be. Am I the a-hole here, Reddit? Now, surprisingly, no one actually took his side. I'm kidding, everyone took their side. Nata, as a Japanese person, I am utterly disgusted by her racism. It is also beyond me how an anime movie has anything to do with a fetish for Asian people. Nata, but you have to pick your battles until you're out on your own. Good on you for not allowing her to turn you into a mini clan member, though. Nata, but you must understand the consequences. I went toe-to-toe with my dad on a daily basis. There were literal fistfights. He had a half-Mexican, openly pansexual daughter who was a survivor of child abuse, and he pooped on everything I was with regularly. He was absolutely in the wrong. I haven't spoken to him more than once or twice this last decade. In fact, I told him that the next time I see him is when we're lowering him into the ground. But your ideals will not feed, clothe, nor house you. The day I walked out of my dad's house, I knew I'd rather live on the streets than spend another moment under that hateful man's roof. And I did. I wound up homeless for almost 4 months as an 18-year-old woman. It took me nearly 6 years to claw my way out of absolute poverty thereafter. Now, I like this and the next comment because they really do bring up the whole issue of wanting to pick your battles. To quote some famous American guy who is for some reason in a musical, it's good to keep your cards close to your chest and wait for it. A little Hamilton reference for you guys there. See, I'm trendy. The corollary, and what I always tell young people in cases of, my family will cut me off if I come out or vote this way, date this person they're bigoted against, then let their evil bull smack dictate my life in general, is that there is no shame in lying to people like this if that's what it takes to secure your future. That's the main thing I want to take away from this story. It's okay sometimes to let things be. Picking your battles isn't cowardice, it's smart. There's only so much bull dung you can handle being thrown at you until you yourself become a huge stinker as well. Yes, thank you, I know I'm great at analogies. But enough of you telling how amazing I am. Let's move on to the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife to do the housework or get a job? Telling your wife to do housework on the internet. You're in danger. So this issue came up and I want an unbiased opinion. We are both 38. I am the only person working in our family. I make around $420K a year after tax. I am a contractor, so my job involves physical labor, and I need rest and time after work to work out. I also own a few laundromats which take time to run. We have been married for 5 years, and she has never worked. Yesterday, she was complaining that I don't do enough around the house. Between my job and running the laundromats, I work around 10 to 12 hours a day, so I don't really have time to clean. She said that we should hire a cleaning lady. I told her, sure, but then you need to get a job. She said no, but keeps complaining. I finally had enough and snapped. I told her to get a job and stop complaining. If I hired a cleaning lady, she would be doing nothing throughout the day. She's now crying in the other room. I talked to some friends, and they don't think I'm the a-hole, but she was texting her parents, and now they are mad at me. So am I the a-hole? Yatar for making her cry. That is unlikely to ever solve problems. Natar, though, for wanting her to run the household or get a job. No, I disagree. He shouldn't be responsible for how she reacts emotionally. Now, if he was trying to make her cry, absolutely. But he was merely snapping back and putting his foot down about her constant complaining. I mean, really, crying is no more beneficial to your argument than a guy who just starts punching because he's not getting his way. That's not me trying to make this a gender issue. Us men also tend to cry when we get argumentative. But I'm not testament to that, no. I don't. Everyone sucks here. It's certainly fair for her to do more housework since she's not working outside the home, but if you're making $420K, you can definitely afford hiring someone to come clean the house once a week. I mean, not doing so just makes you petty. Well, first let me start by saying, Natar, but is it you don't do enough around the house, or really you're never at home? Is she lonely? Do y'all spend time together? If not, make a date night. I know you're busy, but you're also married. Purposely made that the final comment because I feel that's the one that really highlights the subtext that could be going on here. I mean, sure, she genuinely wants you to do more housework, but it could also be that it's just her kind of subtly also saying, deep down, she wants you around more. Obviously, it shouldn't be up to you to decipher what they really want, but not all of us are emotionally and mentally grounded within ourselves. It doesn't hurt to be somewhat more aware. Next story, though. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband's colleague to stop bringing him meals that she cooks every day? I'm a 35-year-old female, and I've been married to my husband, Tom, who's 32, for 3 years. We recently moved to a new home about 4 months ago, and he started his new position at a private company and met new people who became friends with him outside of work. His work colleague, Claire, is a bit intrusive and doesn't really respect boundaries. She'd bring meals to my husband at work pretty much every day and buy him stuff, saying she does this with everybody. She bought him a keychain before, then he came home with a new tie, and there wasn't even an event at the company or outside of it. My husband said she is just generous and has a good heart. She'd call him after work to ask what he'd like to eat the next day. Like, what the hell? I was stunned and confused. He didn't reply to her, saying he doesn't want to make me upset and sort of drop it. Well, the next day, he came from work with her meal leftovers, wanting me to try her cooking. I started getting uncomfortable, and I wanted to meet her, since I was told she's a good person, and what I found out was far from the truth. She saw me in the car with my husband and said hi in the meanest way imaginable. She kept asking me rude questions and made comments about my age. Current theories. 1, your husband is just trying to make you two commingle a bit more, and by introducing her cooking to you, she's hoping you'll lighten up on the suspicion towards her. And 2, this woman's totally trying to undermine you, is really trying to steal your man. But remember, people, if someone steals your partner, they weren't stolen in the first place. Your partner chose to leave you for them. Honestly, that would say more about your partner than anyone else. Now, I tried to end the conversation, and we left after that. My husband wanted to invite a few friends over dinner, since neither his nor my family lived near, and Claire was invited as well. She started talking about work and basically excluded me from the conversation, and it was rude. Very rude. And then brought up my age again. I was getting uncomfortable, but didn't say anything until she asked my husband what he wanted to eat the next day. I told her, thank you, but she shouldn't be bringing him meals at work. I thought that was inappropriate and not professional. She talked about him trying something new and her cooking background and stuff. I told her no thanks, but she disregarded my opinion. I got so mad at the blatant disrespect and told her to stop bringing him meals at work. Well, she got upset, and then after the argument, she ended up leaving. My husband thinks I'm being rude to her and that I should apologize, but I refused because she was completely out of line, especially after having been told no. I mean, he calls me controlling, but I don't see how that's true. Added to say that I cook as well during the week, so it's not like we don't eat fresh meals, so she's being openly disrespectful and rude. Another edit. Everyone I talked to thought it was strange behavior as well. It's not a common thing for a female worker to bring food to work. And of course, she isn't the only female worker at the company, and I can't find an explanation for this behavior and the point of it. I am going to agree with your husband that you are being controlling here. However, I don't think your suspicions are invalid. You are free to express the fact you are uncomfortable with your husband getting this stuff from this woman, but you should be leaving it up to him to put his foot down. If he doesn't, well then that's just disrespecting your uncomfort. Whether you take this as you possibly thinking too much into this, or your partner clearly just disrespecting you, is really up to your own interpretation, I guess. Yeah, it sounds unbelievable to me, but she's there snarling at this woman talking to her man instead of, I don't know, talking to her husband about it. Turning full aggression on the woman because obviously it's the husband's fault and not her husband being absolutely compliant. Thank you, yes, that was my thought too. Yata, it's food. Food that has apparently not been poisoned, so why shouldn't he eat it? Gives you and him a break from cooking. Trust your husband not to do anything weird and cheaty. Your husband is a big boy and can decide if he wants the food or not. You don't get to step in like Mama Bear and tell the coworker not to bring him food. Thoughts on the other side of the fence? Nata, this is creepy and inappropriate as all get out. Why does your husband not find this bizarre? Why is he not standing up for you? Something really weird is going on here. Nata, it's inappropriate for her to buy him things and cook him meals and then being rude to you as well and make comments about your age, especially when it's not, as though you have a huge age gap. Even if your husband doesn't think it's weird, if you feel it is, it shouldn't be a big deal for him to refuse her cooking or gifts in the future, and it's definitely not a ridiculous ask on your part. It's not as though you're trying to control who he's friends with. So what do you think, dear listener? I do believe in the idea that you should never have to, nor push yourself into parenting your partner, but I also totally understand the idea of wanting to convey to your partner that you don't appreciate what they're doing. I guess it really does depend on the individual and how easily they get jealous of things. So I might leave this one to the comments down below. Let me know what you think. I'm feeling a bit of everyone sucks here, but I'm not too sure yet. I feel like that's too much sitting on the fence for...
Well, my plentiful pistachios, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're looking at my face right now, then that means you are at the end of this video, and therefore clearly enjoyed your time here. That or your phone's currently out of reach because you are currently being attacked by a bear. But while you're pinned down, I just want to let you know that I really appreciate you coming this far in the video today. It really helps me know which content is being more engaging to you. After all, this content isn't meant to serve me, it's meant to serve you. I'm doing this for you, so if there's any qualms you have about today's stuff, let me know. And I do like to read your comments while on break at work or pooping in the toilet. Yes, I poop. This is the weirdest thing to be saying without pants on right now. Once again, if you could show your love by liking this video, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Join the family. Come on. All you have to do is press the red button. And I'm not saying that if you do it, I will personally love you, but... Anyway, enough emotionally manipulating you. My name's been Jack. You've been a lovely person to talk to as always. I appreciate our ramblings together. And I guess I'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye.